It's been said before, by me no less, so you know this is right, that the main event of WrestleMania is the most important wrestling match of the year. No other match is tasked with making as much money, compelling as many pay-per-view purchases, or getting as many people from as many different places into one building. You could argue that over the years, the WrestleMania experience as a whole has become more of a draw than any single match, but you wouldn't know from how WWE are treating this year's. The main event of Night 2 has a lot going on. Reigns versus Lesnar 3, title versus title, winner take all, winner take Paul, Tribe versus Ponytail, God versus Titan, and I'm pretty sure the loser will be taken out back at the AT&T Stadium and shot. I think it's in the contract. And by rights, it should be very good, because ever since Mania went to 2 nights, all the main events have been stellar. Boneyard, McIntyre, Brock, Belair, Banks, Edge, Bryan, Reigns, which got us thinking about all those times when the biggest and most important wrestling match of the year has been a bit pants. I'm Adam, hailing from partsFUNknown, and here are 10 worst WrestleMania main events ever. So here's a little trade secret for you. Did you know that if you dye your hair blonde, it makes it easier to hide the fact that your hair is thinning at a rate you find both alarming and deeply saddening? It's true, and I offer that information up without any personal context. How dare you? However, if you'd like to combat hair loss without repeatedly bleaching your hair until it cries out in desperation for you to stop, try Keeps, our sponsor for this week's video. Keeps is an online subscription service offering clinically proven treatments to combat the symptoms of hair loss. Treatments are delivered straight to customers' doors at typically half the cost of pharmacy prices, and all treatment plans are personalized and doctor recommended. I mean, I'm not sure why we here at WrestleTalk would be in partnership with Keeps, isn't that right, Pete? Luke, Laurie, Ollie before the surgery. Sorry, here's a bald picture of Andy. Look, loads of men deal with it, is the point, and most Keeps customers notice results within 6 months of starting treatment. If you subscribe, Keeps physicians will help you select the right products and treatments for your specific condition and hair goals, including their award-winning all-natural thickening shampoo and conditioner system. As part of the subscription service, stay in constant contact with your prescribed physicians with a full year of unlimited messaging, as well as receiving refill reminders so you never run low on the products you need to bring your hair back from the great beyond, aka the inside of your treacherous head. Give me my hair back. Hair loss stops with Keeps. To get 50% off your first order, go to keeps.com/partsFUNknown or click the link in the description. That's keeps.com/partsFUNknown. Number 10, The Undertaker versus Roman Reigns, WrestleMania 33. I mean, this probably wouldn't be on the list if Undertaker had left his dirty laundry in the ring for his fiend mum to pick up and, then actually retired from wrestling. This would have given the match an emotional weight that would have papered over some of the, sadder portions of this match. But now that Undertaker has wrestled other matches and actually released a documentary about how disappointed he was in his intended farewell match against the big dog, that's given us free reign to point at it and say, yeah, that. Undertaker spent most of the match wandering around like he'd lost his keys. It was glacially paced, clocking in at a ludicrous 25 minutes, and each blown spot just makes your soul feel that little bit smaller. The end of a WrestleMania main event shouldn't make you feel relieved it was over, no matter how much we love the devil's favorite demon's favorite brother. Number 9, Triple H versus Randy Orton, WrestleMania 25. We spoke about this match last week, so I won't go on about it too much, but yeah, could have been everything this. A white-hot feud, two guys in their prime, full of familial rage. Should have been a big, horrible, violent spot fest. Instead, WWE tried to go a bit clever with it, implementing the rule if Trips got DQ'd, he'd lose the title, because that's exactly what you want to blow off a feud featuring home invasions and loved ones being killed, with a match that centers around the ref telling Triple H to calm down, big lad, following around like a concerned parent, reminding him not to play too rough with the other boys. Thrilling stuff. Also, the crowd was burned out from Taker HBK earlier, to the point where even Trips and Orton busting out each other's finishes in the first few minutes couldn't spark a reaction. Terribly booked, awkwardly placed on the card. The match never enters second gear, so big moments like Triple H catching Orton's leg mid-punt, they barely raise a murmur. It's so awkward. Number 8, Triple H versus Chris Jericho, WrestleMania 18. Triple H has only main evented 2 WrestleManias as a babyface. This is the second one. It's also bad. Sorry, Triple H, please retweet for awareness. Similar problems plagued this match between Trips and Y2J. Two legends had already provided an emotional main event a few matches earlier, and the booking also hamstrung how the match could be effectively agented. Rock versus Hogan left the crowd pooped from cheering, but also WWE hadn't really booked a Triple H versus Chris Jericho feud going into the event. They'd booked a Triple H versus Stephanie McMahon feud, with the first ever undisputed champion perennially being the third most important element at play. That meant when the actual match started and the heel took control, Jericho didn't have enough credible heat on him to provide that extra juice a match needs to draw the audience in for the big comeback. Also, the production of the match is so weird. Triple H entered to a drowning pool cover of his theme, and even worse, there was no video package before the main event of WrestleMania, the year after My Way. What the are you playing at, WWE? The last reminder to the audience and crowd of why they should care, and it's gone. Madness. And they really didn't care. And trust me, the crowd really didn't care. Again, sorry, Triple H. Number 7, Sycho Sid versus The Undertaker, WrestleMania 13. This was supposed to be Bret Hart versus Shawn Michaels too, but that didn't work out because it conflicted with Shawn's current position of being CEO of Prick Incorporated. Instead, Bret contented himself with wrestling one of the best Mania matches of all time with Steve Austin, leaving show closing duties to WWF champion Sycho Sid, and yes, WWE spelled it S-Y-C-H-O in a move designed to annoy me and me alone, versus Hieronymus Bash. In terms of work rate, it's a little bit like promising someone a Black Forest Gatto and then serving them a plate of wet soil with a small flag planted in it, and on the flag is written the word sorry. For starters, Bret interrupts the match to have a moan, and HBK is insufferable on commentary, so we're constantly reminded of what the match could have been. There's insanely long rest spots. Almost no WrestleMania main events take place in front of a crowd this quiet. They perk up for the final few spots, but for the longest time, this match appropriately dies a death. Number 6, Roman Reigns versus Brock Lesnar 2, WrestleMania 34. The difficult second album, especially when one of the reasons people like the first album isn't on the second album, and also the album is really boring and everyone hates it and shouts so loud that you can't actually hear the album, and that makes you hate it even more. This metaphor got away from me a bit at the end there. Point is, at WrestleMania 31, Lesnar fought Reigns and everyone thought it would be terrible, but in actuality, it was great. They clobbered 7 bells out of each other. The audience turned Lesnar super babyface, so that gave us the match story and then the shocking twist ending. 3 years later, Lesnar and Reigns met again, and bloody hell, literally and proverbially. The crowd were bored of Lesnar's finish spamming by this point, but still hated Reigns, leaving them without a dog in the fight, pun definitely intended. Without the promise of a cash-in, the crowd turned on the match and turned on it hard, and neither man could do much of anything to bring them back, with each finisher and kick-out compounding the frustration that after 3 long years of the Roman experiment, nothing really had changed. I was saying boo earns. Number 5, The Miz versus John Cena, WrestleMania 27, aka that time that a main event of Raw main evented WrestleMania. No number of expertly crafted Hate Me Now video packages could elevate just how low rent Mania 27's WWE Championship match felt. Surprisingly, after spending the last 4 months booking Miz to look like a joke champion, it did not create a trademark big fight feel when it came to Cena running up on Miz for that title. Then the match ended by double countout, which left everyone feeling confused and angry. Then The Rock came out. Then the anonymous Raw general manager shtick, because again, this is an episode of Raw. The match is restarted. The heel wins the main event of WrestleMania. Sure, why not? I know that with the relentless, desperate march of wrestling, the Mania main event is rarely the big end-of-year blow-off that it used to be, but using the biggest match of the year for nothing else other than to set up next year's WrestleMania, how can this feel anything other than cheap? Number 4, Hulk Hogan versus Sergeant Slaughter, WrestleMania 7. While it's true that Hulk has been part of some of the best moments in WrestleMania history, he's also definitely been part of some of the worst. After the 1-2 punches of Manias 5 and 6, Hogan versus Savage being superb and Hogan versus Warrior somehow living up to the hype, the wheels massively fell off the wagon with Mania 7. Warrior's WWF title run had underperformed, so Vince pivoted back, as he always does, to Hulk Hogan. Warrior lost the belt to Sergeant Slaughter, a forever mid-carder unconvincingly promoted to main event heel by becoming an Iraqi sympathizer, as WWE used the real-life Gulf War to make some sweet cash, while flag-waving US face versus dastardly foreigner was a tried and tested formula. Take that, Frenchie WrestleMania 3. The foreign menace usually wasn't plastered all over the news at the time, alongside real footage of real people real dying. Fans did not respond to the storyline, to the point where WWE had to change the venue for Mania 7 owing to shocking ticket sales. Then the main event happened, and believe it or not, Hulk Hogan versus 42-year-old never main evented a pay-per-view before Sergeant Slaughter wasn't match of the year. It was intensely boring, slow to the point of comatose, filled with clumsy, unimpactful moves. Not even Hogan doing a rare blade job could inject much into a match that had already died before it started. It's just a horrible watch. Number 3, Hulk Hogan versus Sid Justice, WrestleMania 8. This was really although you wouldn't know it from the crowd. They were bafflingly loud throughout this walk, punch, walk, kick, rest hold, riddled snooze. WrestleMania 8 was supposed to be Hogan versus Flair. Didn't happen for a bunch of different reasons, which we've gone into before. Trust me, we have. Because Vince got a Hogan, instead of ending with the super personal Flair versus Macho Man WWF Championship match, which saw a new babyface champion crowned 4 sake, they went with Hogan versus Sid Justice. Nothing on the line, no reason to care, apart from the company saying maybe it might possibly be Hogan's farewell match. And it wasn't. It was also a match that was booked to end in a DQ. You heard me. The main event of WrestleMania 8 ended in a disqualification, and a botched disqualification at that. Papa Shango was supposed to break up the pin following Hogan's leg drop, but the timing was off, so Sid Justice had to just kick out instead. An accidentally monumentous moment that received zero fanfare because it wasn't supposed to happen. Then a post-match beatdown before the Ultimate Warrior could make his return. Hooray. Ultimate Warrior then, of course, be gone from the company again before SummerSlam, so just boo. Boo to it all. Number 2, Yokozuna versus Bret Hart, WrestleMania 9. Don't go anywhere. We're staying with Hulk Hogan for a bit more. 1992 and 1993 were huge transition years for WWE. Between WrestleMania 8 and WrestleMania 9, as a result of poor booking and the steroid scandal, WWE lost the following people: Ric Flair, Sid Justice, Roddy Piper, British Bulldog, Ultimate Warrior, Jake Roberts, and for most of the year, Hulk Hogan. Vince also insanely relegated Macho Man to the commentary desk, putting the final nail in the coffin of the 80s wrestling boom. In an almost mad scramble, Vince promoted Bret Hart to the face of the company and found the biggest non-steroid user he could find in Yokozuna to play the villain. So what should have been Hart versus Macho Man became Hart versus Yoko, which isn't great, as the Big Samoan couldn't work longer than a 10-minute match, but hey, Hart would surely beat him, right? New face of the company, etc., except no, after a sluggish nothing match in which Yokozuna infamously went to the finish 5 minutes early because he was dead on his feet, the bad guy won. Then Hulk Hogan came out, challenged Yoko to a title match, which was accepted. Then he won because Vince got cold feet on running with anyone less than the Hulkster at the top of the company. A terrible moment to kickstart the most terrible era in wrestling history. And number 1, Triple H versus Roman Reigns, WrestleMania 32. My first Mania. It was my first Mania that I've ever attended, and I cannot tell you how dispiriting it was to watch this live. Fun fact, I've never actually gone back and watched it in its entirety on the network, and you couldn't make me at gunpoint. Between babyface Cena and babyface Reigns, there have been a number of we don't want this Mania main events, but usually the fans get angry about it, and that energy translates into something that's at very least entertaining. The aforementioned Mania 31, Mania 22, when the fans turned Cena heel and Triple H babyface, Mania 23, same thing, but at Mania 32, I don't know, man, it just broke us. The show was too long, everyone was tired, there was no way out, Bryan was gone for real this time, Ambrose had just had a stinker with Brock, everyone else was injured, there was just nothing but Roman. It was unwanted, inevitable, but even so, they took 27 goddamn minutes to get there. They booked a really dull match and shushed us as the match went along. A miserable time watching live. Can't imagine how bad it must have been for you poor sods watching at home. Are there worse matches? I mean, probably. I mean, Lawrence Taylor versus Bam Bam Bigelow is a ludicrous match that has a mid-carder versus a footballer in the main event of WrestleMania. The Fatal 4-Way at Mania 2000 was a bit as well, but both were a million times more fun and just a live feeling than this dog's cock. What a shame. And that's our list. What's been your least favorite WrestleMania main event of all time? Let us know which match it is and why in the comments, and don't forget to like and share this video around if you enjoyed it. Make sure you subscribe to partsFUNknown for more silly wrestling content, and never forget to jam that jam.